philosophy of confidence. I always wanted to be a content creator, but for a majority of my life, I had convinced myself I wasn't good enough to create content. First, it was my skin, then it was my nose, and then it was my body. I was hyper-focused on the way that I looked, and I felt like I couldn't create content because of that. After I had exhausted doing everything that I possibly could to look the best that I could physically, I'd do my skincare every day, teeth, brushed, dentist consistently, hygiene, doing whatever I can, working out, taking my protein, doing my hair oiling, literally doing every single thing that I could aesthetically. I still didn't have the confidence to post the things that I had wanted to online. Definitely never thought I would ever be posting anything about confidence. But in trying so hard to be online, it's really forced me to do everything that I could to learn about confidence. This started me on a deep journey. I started researching psychology, philosophy, history, self-improvement, and anything on YouTube that I could possibly find regarding confidence. And after everything I've researched, I came to the conclusion that there are some commonalities in everything that I've watched. I did want to share these practices. I have been working on embodying them for a while, and I have noticed a significant change in my confidence. And I feel like it's definitely continuing to get better and more stable. So confidence is definitely not something that's easy to sum up or even easy to put into words. I have found very practical ways to help with confidence after all of the studying I've done. The first thing I want to focus on is positive self-talk. I did affirmations for a long time, and I kept trying to change my self-talk. I didn't actually understand how to do it, and I see a lot of affirmation videos, and I'm not sure if anybody actually understands how to do it. I was hoping if I kept robotically doing it and writing it to myself, at some point I would believe it. The affirmations didn't help me in the way that I had wanted, at least. But I did find other methods that did. So positive self-talk is a major one. I can go deeper into how I changed my positive self-talk without the use of affirmations. It's actually a little bit deeper on in the video. The second thing is being able to take feedback. Every time I think that I'm confident, I can tell how confident I am by how I take feedback from other people, whether it's people in relationships, people at work, or friends. I can see literally where my edges and rigidity are based on the feedback and how hard I'm taking it. It shows me where my sensitivity is. I did want to put this in so you could review it. I understand that criticism isn't usually easy to take. If it is true, it can definitely be painful. But I do think that being able to accept criticism in a healthy way is important. And if it's unhealthy criticism, maybe the last point is helpful to look at. The third is being genuine. I understand that this is a lot harder than it sounds. I, for a majority of my life, believed I was genuine, but now that I'm working on confidence, I understand there's a huge difference in genuinity. I used to try and hide my reactions to things because I felt like my reactions weren't acceptable or the way that I was thinking wasn't acceptable. And there's something to that, I want to say. If you can't be authentic because there's a side of you that's too toxic, maybe it's the way that you think. Maybe you're really negative, really judgmental towards other people. You have to be able to face that and work on it to be authentic. You can't be authentic if you don't work on yourself and your negative aspects. That was really hard for me to accept. I wanted to be authentic without putting in the hard work of changing myself to be authentic. I had this nasty dark side of jealousy, resentment, insecurity, and I still struggle with it. Like, I see it come up, but I actively fight it now. And I realize that it's not okay to think like that, and it's my responsibility to be the person that I want to be. So I have to genuinely work on my reactions and genuinely work on the person that I am in those negative moments so I can show myself and be confident in who I am, because I know I work on myself. The fourth is a cognitive behavioral therapy. I talked about this earlier with the affirmations. The reason the affirmations didn't work for me, in my opinion, is because it didn't feel natural for me to sit there and repeat over to myself these things. And I tried the mirror work where you stand in the mirror and repeat it to yourself, but I noticed a difference in my self-talk when I did cognitive behavioral therapy. So, for instance, when an insecure thought would pop into my head, your thought is typically when I go to the gym and a girl's body looks better than mine, even though I've been working out for a lot of years, the thought that I'll normally get is, wow, she's really beautiful. I simply just add, so am I, to the end of every insecure thought I have. I actively work to restructure the negative thoughts that I have to look and to actually be better. So when I'm thinking a negative thought that's toxic and I can see it's toxic, I try and actively catch it in that moment. That simple shift in adding so am I has made it so I naturally talk to myself nicer, just in my insecurities. So whenever I'm insecure, I naturally talk nicer to myself. Whenever I'm jealous, I naturally talk nicer to myself because I force myself to. Cognitive behavioral therapy was one of my favorite tools that I've learned from self-help and therapy. The thing that I have noticed from all of my research to conclude this is resilience. Being resilient, in my opinion, does equate to a form of confidence. When you're at your lowest low, just knowing that you're going to be able to pick yourself up, you're going to be able to make it through, and everything is going to be okay. I don't know if there's a such thing as unshakable confidence. I've definitely looked for it, and I've been looking for it for a really long time. I do want to end this with talking about character being the number one importance to confidence. I believe you can be confident even without having these things, but what I'm talking about is lasting confidence, or maybe a confidence that you can always work on yourself to continue to grow with you. It's this concept that I read from the 4 agreements. One of them is always do your best. Your best is going to change from time to time, and it's going to look different when you're sick and when you're healthy. But as long as you're always doing your best, that is another way I believe to source your confidence. If you did stay with me to the end, I just want to say thank you for everything. I appreciate all of your support and any feedback.